Drug-related crimes in the United States. What does a drug do to a person's mind? The effects that drugs have on a person's brain vary depending on the group of drugs they consume. The different groups include hallucinogens, depressants, and stimulants. Hallucinogens alter the perceptions, thoughts, and feelings of any individual that consume them. Hallucinogens target certain receptors in the brain that deal with serotonin. Hallucinogens are used by many consumers to help them deal with trauma, pain, and many other factors of life that a user may not be quite satisfied with within their own personal life. Factors of depression, anxiety, loneliness, insecurities, and many others are all reasons why people may not be okay with where they are in life. The other type of drug group is depressants. Depressants are known for targeting the central nervous system to reduce the activity in the brain. Depressants suppress arousal and neurotransmissions to our brain, causing a slow activity between the connections between the emotions and actions. The last type of drug is a stimulant. Stimulants also target the central nervous system, but instead of decreasing the productivity of the brain, it enhances it, allowing the central nervous system to produce chemical signals to the brain faster. Stimulants are known for making consumers feel more awake, alert, and energetic in most situations. The consumption of a majority of these drugs is deemed to be illegal, and the crime of to intake them in itself, but the crimes that they do while under the influence are normally more major than the consumption of the drug. People who rely on the drug will sometimes do anything they need to get funds for such drugs. Armed robberies, home robberies, petty theft, and sometimes even ransom negotiations are done by drug addicts so they can get access to the drugs. Any form of drug possession is deemed to be extremely illegal if it's an illicit drug, but making sure that their drugs were discovered without breaking any of your rights is extremely important. To the safety of the law, as long as a police officer cannot see any valid form of reason to believe that you have drugs in possession, an officer has no right to condone any search and/or finding of any illicit drug. Considering that the sight is not the only factor of race that people believe there to be drugs in a person's possession, if a car, for example, smelled like marijuana, it is enough evidence to condone a search, and if the suspect is found to be under the influence, a DUI may be given. The first type of crime that is commonly committed is drug possession. Drug possessions are any holdings of what is considered to be an illegal substance in the United States. Each type of drug is put into a different class to determine the risk they have on society. Depending on which class you are charged with, possession determines the sentencing that you receive. The amount that a person is found with is also put into consideration. In standard, the classes are Class A, B, and C. Each class has a different fee that may be given with the addition to time in prison, which ranges from 2 to 7 years. The second type of drug-related crime is trafficking. Drug trafficking is considered to be a way more serious offense compared to drug distribution, since it deals with manufacturing, distributing, possessing with intent to create, trading for another substance, and dispensing on a higher amount. When deemed to be a person who is drug trafficking by the court can authorize jail or prison time, fines, or probation as a consequence of drug trafficking. The sentencing of the time of prison ranges greatly from 3 to 5 years up to life. There are many factors in deciding the sentencing of a drug trafficker, like the type of drug, the amount of drug within their possession, the quality of the drug, where they sell, and how largely they sell within a certain area. The third type of drug charge is drug manufacturing. Drug manufacturing is easy to be charged with, since almost anyone that took part of the making of pharmacological or non-pharmacological drugs for recreational production is considered to be a drug manufacturer. If a person has possession of any materials to make a drug illegally and has the intent of making it, it makes them capable of being charged. Making sure that one's mind is sure of the actions they are doing plays a big role when it comes to deciding if a person is able to be convicted of drug manufacturing or not. After all the sentencing that is done by so many different possibilities that all deal with drugs, it is thought by the system that what they would do to help all of them. By helping every convict when they get out of prison, they allow themselves to make sure that people who leave prison do not return for any type of drug charge. By reducing the number of users of drugs, we are not only lowering the rates of crimes that are done under the influence, but also lowering the sales of drugs, the making of drugs, and the manufacturing rates of drugs as well. Thank you.